Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today, we're doing 1992's Basic Instinct.
That explains the energy you're bringing. You are just, let's go.
Hell yeah. I told you when we did Mannequin, I think that started my obsession with blonde trashy women. Mm-hmm. And a few years later, this film pops up. And it just continued my infatuation with blonde trashy women.
You are definitely bringing some sort of bend Jeanne Tripplehorn over the couch energy to this review already, and I'm with it.
I ain't bringing that rapey energy to this show.
A little bit.
Why?
You tell me. You're the shrink.
If you want to follow me or Corey on the Twitters, you could follow me at Junior D's. You could follow Corey at Corey_idol. If you want to follow the show, you could follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Kiss the Reviews. And let's dive right in, face first, into this film, and we'll start with the cast. This film...
Dive in face first.
Get it? Get what I did there?
Oh, I get it. I wish I was getting it, but I'm not. I'm doing a review with you.
This film stars Michael Douglas as Detective Nick Curran, Sharon Stone as Catherine Tramell, George Dzundza as Detective Gus Moran, and Jeanne Tripplehorn as Beth Garner.
If you were ever a fan of a Dennis Leary's show, Rescue Me,
yes,
like 95% of that cast is in this movie, just really young. And with some really bad toupees.
Oh, God. The days when toupees were a thing.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Just glorious. Hair, the top of the hair doesn't match the side of the hair. Like, those were the best. Those are great.
What would you, if you had to choose one? Like, you can't just go bald. So you have to choose one. Would you have done a shitty toupee that is obviously very much like a toupee? Or would you have done like the original experimental hair plugs where it looked like you had little ant things coming out of your head?
Where they staple ants to your head?
Yeah.
Ooh. That's a real Sophie's choice.
Right?
Honestly, I would go toupee because at least with the toupees, they were in style. They were in vogue for a little while. And then eventually they went away and all the men looked around and went, "Oh, we're not playing this game anymore. We're not keeping up with this charade. I'm going to take this rug and I'm going to put it over here. This fucking dead raccoon I have. And this just goes in a box in my closet now." So I would go toupee because you can get rid of it.
That's fair. I'll never have to make that choice because I have a beautiful head of hair.
Neither
just
will I.
Constantly grows like
a
fountain of youth.
I have a proceeding hairline, so I'm good.
Yeah, I'm actually lying. I'm looking like Dan Aykroyd more and more every day. It's fucking insane.
Oh, well, dude, let's get into this movie because this one was this the... I hate to say it was the first because I'm trying to go back and remember because we don't do research. But like this was the day and age of like silk stockings, and then these horny bang bang thriller sexual deal movies came out. I don't know what was the first one, but when this one came out, this was the best one.
Yeah, this one was amazing. I would say, it depends exactly how we're going with this genre, because if we're just making it a thriller that has the sexy time in it, then I would say Fatal Attraction came before this.
Yeah.
But if we're going specific, like cop murder mystery, sexy time kind of thing, then yeah, I think this is like right up there. Like there may have been some others, but they weren't this.
No, they definitely weren't this. And again, I haven't seen this one in a long time. And I know everybody makes a big deal, and we'll get to it too. We won't show it, obviously, but
don't blink. And I don't even see what the big deal is even at this age. Like now, I'm like,
Yeah.
you blink and you miss it.
Yeah, no, 100%. But like the whole leg crossing on crossing scene was like the big deal at the time. Which is crazy because it was like Sharon Stone shows her beef. Fine. There is a lot of aggressive Skinamax type fucking going on in this show.
Yeah, and I appreciate the fact that, one, when they do it, they fucking do it. Like, I'm actually sitting here like, yo, are they fucking?
Yeah.
Like, did Michael Douglas just run around this set tapping ass in the midnight? Because this is fucking, this is some strong banging.
Yeah, and Michael Douglas was hanging dong. He was hanging dong in this one.
And kudos to him for going full frontal right along with the girl. I mean, you don't actually see his dong, but he's naked as fuck. Yeah. So congratulations and kudos to him for going naked like the girls did. Because
yeah, well, I paused it. You can see the dong in a couple of scenes. So
it's like a Tom Cruise, all the right moves kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of.
Like you got to pause it at the right moment. And you like just see a little bit of a helmet flapping off to the side.
Yeah, there's a long shot with him and Sharon Stone, and you see some piping. So
no, good for you, Mike.
Yeah, I mean he put it all out there, and good for him. Good for him.
No shit. But yeah, dude, like, what I will say is right in the opening scene, if you've seen the movie before, they kind of give away who the killer is because those aren't Sharon Stone's breasts. I know the end has the big twist, but I'm just telling you, I've watched that scene a lot. And I've watched the Jeanne Tripplehorn scene a lot. And what I can tell you is those are Jeanne Tripplehorn's titties.
Yeah, well, and also, I don't know, and we'll you know what? Let's just start off because I got something for this opening scene. So
I bet you do, big boy.
The movie opens, as Corey said, just how I like it, with a sex scene, and during said sex with former rock star Johnny Boz, he is stabbed to death with an ice pick by a blonde woman. A couple of things about this opening scene. One, I rewound it a couple of times, not for the reason you're thinking. I was watching this with my wife, and she said, "Is there lint coming out of her butthole or what?" But as they're going up, and I can't show it again, obviously, but as they're going up, like it looks like it's coming out of a crack or maybe your butt cheek. There's some, I don't know if it's the bedding. I don't know if there's lint coming out of her crack, but something's going on there. So if you want to check that out, I don't know, she put it in her butthole.
Well, you know, they're kind of close together. There's not much of a separation, and the string could be hanging out and just hanging back.
It could
be a long string.
Who knows? But so that's one, right? And then we get Detective Nick. He's called in to investigate the murder, and all the cops are there. He's checking out all the cum stains all over the bed, and the cops also discuss Boz's ties to the mayor. And I do appreciate this in this opening sex scene. She let him finish.
Hell yes.
By the looks of the black light they're using on the bed, he finished a lot.
Yeah, he's taking that medicine that like makes you have the super ejaculate.
He's throwing ropes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's a shitload of cum, bro.
That's a lot. He is not a dribbler.
No, and it doesn't seem like he's got much control of that fire hose either, because it's everywhere. It looks like a Jackson Pollock painting in that fucking room. A lot of times, these movies will either tease you with the soft sex scene and a violent murder, or a violent murder, or a hard sex scene, but you don't see the violent murder. They just talk about it.
Yeah.
This does both.
Yes.
Like, this is some good fucking followed up by some hardcore killing.
Yes.
That's like, Thomas Wells is on the case for this whole thing as well. Because they just made a snuff film.
Absolutely. And you know what? Me and Corey are there for all of it.
Oh, well, Yeah, I mean, don't speak for me when it comes to snuff films, but yeah, we are.
So Nick here then goes to see Boz's girlfriend, Catherine, but him and his partner, Gus, run into her friend, Roxy, instead. And Curran and Gus then go to Catherine's beach house where she's at to question her, and it doesn't really go well for them.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, I don't know, people that are being questioned by the police. The police show up at your house, okay? I see a lot of videos on TikTok these days, on YouTube. Don't act like Roxy and Catherine act when two detectives that are investigating a murder of somebody you both know shows up to ask questions, okay? Just go, sorry, officer, I don't know anything, I want a lawyer, whatever. Lawyer up immediately. Don't do what these two people do, which is just like, yeah, glad he's dead. Fuck that guy. But he had a freaking hard dick and I like to ride it. And let's pump the brakes on this whole thing and lawyer up and don't say shit.
I mean, yeah, I guess. But also, fuck the police.
Corey just got done listening to NWA's album.
That's right.
Curran is also seeing a therapist, Dr. Beth Garner, and she's with the police department and their internal affairs office. We find out here that he also dated her, and apparently he's seeing her because of a string of shootings and some substance abuse issues he's had in the past.
Now, this is probably the most accurate thing to, I think, police behavior that I have seen. Because this guy has a drinking problem. He's got an anger problem. He's taking Coke by the fucking truckloads. He's drinking Jack Daniels by the barrel full. And then, he shot a couple of tourists in front of other fucking tourists, apparently. And it was just like, you know what, bud? While you're still on active duty, we're going to need you to go see that psychiatrist. Hey, It's a department psychiatrist. And by the way, she's a fucking beauty queen who you used to fuck. In any universe, this would not be allowed. But because you're a cop, we got you.
This situation's worse than the Catholic Church. At least in the Catholic Church, they send you to like Saskatchewan after you diddled a bunch of kids. Like here, they're like, no, you could still run the same beats that you've been running, but you've been an alcoholic, you've abused cocaine, you've shot innocent tourists in front of other innocent tourists, but we're going to go ahead and you could still work. Just go tell your problems to the chick you were banging. Sounds totally legit to me.
Yep, which, I mean, in all honesty, if you really want to punish me, make me confess all my deepest, darkest thoughts to the chick I'm banging.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
Curran and Gus find out that Catherine has written a novel about a former rock star who was killed, tied to the bed with a white scarf, stabbed with an ice pick, yada, yada, just like this murder of Boz. And they go back to Catherine's house to bring her in for questioning. She changes into something more appropriate and returns wearing a short, tight miniskirt. And during the interview, we see and get the famous leg crossing and uncrossing scenes.
Wait, where is it? There it is.
There
That's
it
the
is.
scene, everyone. That's what it looked like. Just a little more hair on the outside.
I have nothing to hide.
Yeah, again with this scene, I don't see what the big deal is now. By today's standards, we're all like, okay. But I will say this.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, ladies. Uncle Corey here. If you are being accused of killing your rock star boyfriend, unless you have Sharon Stone's X-Man power of let me flash you my vagina and you forget all purpose of being, lawyer the fuck up like Armando said.
Absolutely.
I don't care in an informal conversation if you tell the cops to go fuck themselves. Ain't a goddamn thing they can do about that. But when they got you in the interrogation room and they're drilling you, unless you can fucking uncross your legs and make everybody in the room forget what the fuck they were just doing, you should probably have a lawyer present, because they're going to tie you up and make you say something stupid.
Her name should have been Sunshine in this movie.
I have got a girl whose pussy is so good, if you threw it up in the air, it would turn into sunshine.
So later that night, Nick goes to a bar with his coworkers. He orders a drink after having been sober for the past 3 months. And then we get Officer Nielsen, an internal affairs officer, showing up. And he and Nick get into it after he busts Nick's balls for drinking. And then Dr. Garner shows up here, and she and Nick leave together and go to her apartment.
Everybody on this police force literally needs to get laid. They are the most uptight, high-strung bunch of assholes I have ever met in my life. Armando and I were talking before, and in our fantasy league, fantasy football league, we say terrible shit to each other. I've accused former members of having their children in the Hitler Youth for no reason other than the fact that they beat me in a football game that wasn't even real.
And it's funny.
And it's funny. So for a bunch of cops, right?
Yeah.
To be in this situation where, you know, cops, even if they're internal affairs, I know back in the day in movies that was the trope.
Yeah.
Dude, watch internal affair videos now. They ain't doing shit. There ain't no fucking way they're taking down a fucking cop. It's just not happening. So this whole thing with these guys just all fucking hating each other and like the constant like testosterone and dick measuring. Either one, thank God I would never tried to be a cop, because clearly I would have been in the wrong business if that's really what it's like. Or two, it is so exaggerated and they all just need to drop gallons of loads to relieve stress.
Like Boz does in the opening scene.
Hell yes.
And then we get this scene, which is kind of disturbing. But they go to Beth's apartment, and Nick and Beth get into some aggressive, rapey sex. Well, I should say Nick gets into some aggressive, rapey sex, and Beth afterwards and during is visibly upset. And after Nick asks for a cigarette, Beth tells him where they are and then demands that he leaves.
I don't know. It seemed very odd, the whole thing.
No,
like,
the whole thing was odd.
By Hoyle's definition, yeah, it was rape. She said no.
Yeah. I'm going to do this.
But everything afterwards was very weird.
I'm going to do this, okay? Let's just do a quick don't do that.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, guys, or gals, for that matter. You've been seeing somebody. You've been having sex with somebody. And then you get wild hair up your ass to do what Nick does here, and like, let's get some rough shit going on, right? Mm-hmm. It's all cool and it's all well and good. Okay, like even a little bit later, Sharon Stone ties Nick up, which he obviously hadn't done, and he's got an issue with it. I have some issues with that myself, and we'll get to that later. But if you're gonna go and if you've been making love and you haven't really been aggressively, banging or doing weird shit, don't introduce it like this. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's what I like to call a stair stepper. You kind of go, you escalate it little by little over the course of time, or I don't know, you can have a discussion about it and go, why don't we try this? Don't do what Nick does here. And basically, aggressive with it. Okay? Because you'll get the reaction that he gets afterwards. And during, for that matter.
You were right.
In real life, if you bend somebody over a couch and they're like, hey, no, don't be like, I saw it in Basic Instinct. No, don't do that. You're going to get fucking charged for fucking sexual assault, as you should.
Yes, absolutely. So,
regardless of what was consensual before or after.
Yeah. So after a little bit of a car chase scene here, Nick follows Catherine, learns that she befriends murderers like Hazel Dobkins, who stabbed her husband and children to death. And Nick also finds out during a visit to Catherine's house that she knows things about him that are confidential, things that only Dr. Garner should know. So he goes straight to the police station. He goes into Beth's office, confronts her, and she tells him that she gave Nielsen his file. So he heads over there and attacks him and gets thrown out of the police station. And Nielsen is found dead with a gunshot wound to the head. And obviously, Nick is at the top of this suspect list as the murderer.
Yes. This is where it kind of gets funny because he goes into an interrogation room now and he becomes Sharon Stone, basically.
Yes.
And he does, what are you going to do? Charge me for smoking?
Yeah.
And then,
he shows his
pretty,
balls.
just dangles balls. And he's like, what do you think of these, boys?
He just hangs dong and he's just like, how you like them apples?
Like, oh, you want to see a trick? Helicopter dick. Helicopter dick. Anyone forget? Huh? Nielsen's dead? No? Everybody remember still? Fuck.
I don't think it's funny.
He totally takes on Sharon Stone's like kind of tough personality here. And it's funny because he even goes so far as to be like, it'd be pretty stupid for me to get into a physical altercation with him and then kill him later that day. It's just like, dude.
It gets a little convoluted.
I don't get what he is obsessed with here. I don't. Like, I understand infatuation, but also, as we've discussed numerous times on this show, part of the reason I have 13 ex-wives is because once I've seen it, I'm good. I'll see you around.
Yeah.
We both had our moment. And that moment was, as we discussed, about 10 to 15 minutes long, and we moved on. But he's just...
Listen.
He is so obsessed that he's taking on her personality.
You were right.
Nick gets put on leave here because he's the suspect in the murder. He continues to follow Catherine. He starts at the disco bar, and we get him and Catherine beginning their sexual tryst here.
I have to bring up this point. He hasn't fucked her yet. And he's that infatuated. Because they're just about to get down for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
So, again, what the fuck are you so infatuated
No,
with?
here, dude, I get this.
You don't see me taking on Justin Timberlake's personality, right? I'm waiting until we fucking bang. And then I'll be like, I'm Justin Timberlake. I don't know what he does.
I get this because it's the thrill of the hunt. I get it. Okay? It's afterwards that I don't get. That's what I don't get. But whatever, neither here nor there. But he does get down and he does go down. And apparently this is where his oral cancer began. And I will say this. I haven't said enough. His vinegar strokes are intensely angry.
Oh yeah, he fucks. Like, Jeanne Tripplehorn was with the wrong guy the whole time because she wants somebody that's going to make love to her. And this is an animal that fucks.
Yeah.
Just period. He was put on this earth to spread seed angrily and move on.
He is a honey badger. Okay.
Yeah.
And I got another quick don't do that, by the way, from this scene after the disco.
Don't do that. It's not good for you.
Hi, people out there. Whether you're a detective or not, don't let people who you suspect have killed someone by tying them up, let them tie you up in bed when you're about to have sex with them. I'm just gonna throw that one out there. I'm a control freak just in normal day-to-day life, so I don't like being restrained for any reason. So I'm not comfortable with those things. Whether there's a secret word or whatever, people can ignore pineapples. They can ignore all that, okay? So I'm not cool with that. Now, let's throw into the mix that I think you stabbed somebody to death. I'm definitely not letting that shit happen.
You were correct.
I would have to say that if I have already decided to raw dog somebody with as many sexual partners as Catherine, tying me up and stabbing me in my chest and face is like the least of my concerns at that point.
Yes.
You should definitely wear a rubber when it's something like that. That's all I'm saying. Pretty much like 99% of the time, you should be wearing a rubber regardless of the situation.
Yeah. And in this next scene, he freely admits that, like, I'll use a rubber later.
Yeah. He's like, no, I'm hitting that shit as God intended it to be hit.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, new sexual partners. Uncle Corey here. I'm speaking to both of you now. Don't expect you to be as kismet or as in sync as these two are.
Yeah.
Usually the first time is really sloppy, really awkward, because you don't know what the other person is really into or what they like. And you're fumbling around trying to do your thing, and they're fumbling around trying to do their thing, and oftentimes those things collide until you've had a couple times to work with each other. Much like Armando and I's working on this show together. The first shows were really kind of gross. But then we got into a groove, and here we are. So, like that, don't expect Basic Instinct-esque movie sex when the first time you're with somebody. That's totally unrealistic. The only thing you can hope for is, like in this scene, some pretty good oral. That's just kind of natural. Like, you're either good at that or you're not.
Yeah. And as we know, Michael Douglas loved his oral.
Boy, howdy. That's my fucking patron saint.
So one night, after finding Gus at a Jason Aldean concert, they talk about Nick banging Catherine, and when he leaves, a jealous Roxy attempts to kill Nick by running him over with Catherine's car, but she ends up being killed after they play chicken on a bridge that's under construction.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, small towners. Uncle Corey here. If you're like Gus or Roxy and you're playing this jam, don't try to run over people you don't recognize in your small town. That's not a good way to go. You're probably going to do what Roxy does and die because she's not a professional fucking stunt driver.
There you go. Nick here continues to investigate Catherine on his own. He finds out a bunch of stuff that seems to implicate her as the killer, but then he also uncovers some things about Beth that implicates her as well. And then he learns that Catherine and Beth had an affair while they were in college, and each one accuses the other of being obsessed with the other one. This is the one thing that I really didn't like about the story. Once it got here, it was like, no, she was obsessed with me. And this I was not a fan of.
She developed a fixation on me.
She said it was you.
She makes up this story about me.
I liked it, and here's why. From a writing standpoint or a character standpoint, this is why. Beth this whole time has kind of been quarterbacking. Like, oh, Catherine's going to say this. Catherine's going to say that. Like, she is pretending to know that she is already in Catherine's head, and this is where Catherine's going to take things. So for her to keep that defense going, because it's worked in the past, I get that. It's just that Curran is at a point now where he just doesn't know who to believe, so he's like, cut the shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now you're both saying the same thing. I actually liked it from that standpoint, because at this point, Beth is guilty.
Yeah.
Like, as the viewer, Beth is guilty. She's 100% guilty of every single murder that's occurred so far in this film. And you have to have some form of some kind of doubt there. And so you're hoping by Beth being like, no, like, what are you talking about? Like, she copied me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just didn't like that. But I like everything else. The fact that, like, he looks into it and changes her name and yada yada. And she's like, yeah, because I was married to the doctor and yada yada, whatever. Like, she goes that route. And the whole, let me guess, she told it she said it to you while you guys were in bed together.
Right.
Like that I really like, but I don't know. It just seemed, I don't know, it seemed childish to me. Like, no, she was the one that copied me. Like that one little piece I did, there was like 3 sentences I just didn't like.
Yeah.
It just seemed, like whatever. Again, it was this big in the grand scheme of things. So, but after this, Catherine breaks it off with Nick, and she's finished her new book about the detective that gets murdered after banging the lead lady or whatever. And so she's done with him. She breaks it off.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, boys and girls, soon to be ex-lovers. Uncle Corey here. Your heartache / heartbreak can all be avoided if you follow one simple rule, which is listen to what they're telling you. Because she says from the beginning, she's done with you when she's fucking done with you. The only reason she kept Johnny around wasn't out of love, wasn't even out of like. It's because she liked the way they fucked. So, ergo, when you're like, oh, what are you doing? Let's go out. And she's like, my book's done. Get the fuck out of my house. You shouldn't be shocked. She literally said that is exactly what she was going to do. When she's done with you as the character, she's done. Whether it's cold or mean or whatever, you're the one that is buying into this. So fuck you, fuck your emotions, and get the fuck out of her house.
Hell yes.
Gus and Nick here are then lured to a building where Gus checks out a lead from Catherine's college roommate from freshman year or whatever, and Gus gets murdered with an ice pick on the elevator in the same way described in Catherine's new unpublished book. Nick arrives too late to help Gus, and he finds Dr. Garner at the scene, and as she reaches for something in her coat, he shoots her, and she only had keys in her pocket, and she dies as she tells Nick that she loves him. And again, not a really long one, but here's a quick don't do that.
Don't do that, it's not good for ya.
Hi, ladies, who are maybe dating a detective. Maybe you don't know the cop. I don't know. But you're in a situation where there is a cop that is suspecting you of murdering a guy that is 10 feet away from where you're standing currently. And he has a gun on you and says, put your hands up. Don't go into your pockets to get your keys? That's what we're doing here? You're on like the 4th or 5th floor of this building. Your car's over there. Don't put your hand in your pocket to get your keys. What, do you got a flash drive on there you want to show them? Here's the real murderer, guy. Don't do any of that shit, because you're going to get shot.
She's going to remind him about how much he loves Bart Simpson. Like, remember Bart? The Simpsons. Every Wednesday we watch it.
The cops then come in. They search Garner's apartment. They find literally every piece of evidence imaginable. The .38 revolver that killed Nielsen, or the copies of Catherine's books, photos of the victims in Catherine, and an ice pick that matches all the ice pick stabby. And then the movie ends with Nick and Catherine back in his apartment, where after they have sex, Nick's back is turned and Catherine reaches under the bed, but she changes her mind and bangs Nick again. And then the camera pans down and shows the underside of the bed where an ice pick is lying on the floor. I get it. The ice pick is one of the stars of the movie. It's used in a couple of the murders. Fine. I'm cool with it. I grew up in this time period, and I wasn't a child. Like, I wasn't 5. In 1992...
You may have been 35 in 92.
In 1992, in fact, my whole life, I don't remember anybody anywhere using ice picks to break up blocks of ice as frequently as these sons of bitches in this movie. Well, I don't know if that was a rich person thing. I don't know what it was, but somebody explain it to me, and maybe you can. Did they just have a big block of ice in the corner, like a swan ice sculpture that they would just chip away at and put in their goddamn whiskey?
Yeah, I can explain it to you like this.
I know you
confess.
grew up rich, so you let me know.
I earned what I got.
My daddy gave me a small loan.
$45 million. That's all. No, this is how I would explain it. You grew up upstate New York, working class immigrant. These are white.
What do you mean,
bougie,
you people?
San Francisco, fucking elite liberal arts confidence, doctorate in literature and psychology motherfuckers. Yeah, they use
That's
ice
fair.
picks.
I didn't know if it was a thing or not, but
Yeah, I used to be invited to the meetings until they saw the brand names on my clothes, and they're like, "Get out of here, Walmart."
no,
They ain't having it.
Okay, cool. You got one person that's still a Neanderthal that uses an ice pick to break up ice. Fine. That's cool. But literally, like, Sharon Stone's doing it. He's doing, like, everybody owns an ice pick. And I'm like, were ice trays not invented by this fucking time?
In fairness, he was so infatuated with her, he probably just went out and bought an ice pick last week. By the way, he's fucking hacking at it.
Well, no, that is definitely the case, because when he first goes to see her, he even says, like, haven't you ever heard of ice cubes? And she's like, I like the rough edges, or whatever the hell she says.
Mm-hmm.
And then literally the next scene that she's at his house, he's like, yeah, ice picks are cool.
There you go.
I want to be just like you.
You're my hero, Catherine. Will you sign my book, please?
Apparently she's got that magic pee. Everybody from Beth to Nick to everybody wants to, not only wants to be with her, but wants to be her.
Yes, 100%.
Or behold her, whatever.
And I'll take anything I can get, Catherine. This movie's weird. In fairness, at the very end, because I keep a weapon by the side of my bed. It's what most people do since,
That's fair.
The Zodiac killer's been around. So if I have just experienced blissful sex with somebody and they decide to ruin it by bringing up children, I'm probably going to think about stabbing them unless they retract the statement in about 30 seconds.
That's fair.
Dude, we've had sex like 4 times, dude. Shut the fuck up about fucking kids. You can't stop bringing up kids. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Even if you're a normal person and you do eventually want to breed with somebody, stop bringing up kids. We've had sex 4 times. Yeah. Unless it's because we've been married every single time we've had sex. Stop bringing up the fucking kids. I don't want to hear it.
And by the way, you're like 40. Stop having kids when you're old. Don't do that.
Oh, them. Yeah. I was like, I'm 25. What are you talking about?
Don't out me in front of everybody.
Don't you know? We got called millennials like 2 weeks ago, dude.
I know. You're trying to stick with that. I get it.
Yeah, I am. Cowabunga, high school dude. What's hyphy?
Oh, my God. But yeah, listen, this is the movie dated? Yes. But also, does it hold up? Sure. This is it's a, for lack of a better word, it's a fun movie. Like, you want like a sexual murder mystery kind of yada. It's a fun movie for that. You want to see a lot of TNA and Michael Douglas hanging dong and, whatever. This is the movie to watch.
I told her I thought it was the fuck of the century.
I honestly have no problem with this movie. I think it's... Oh, wait, I'm supposed to be a millennial. This movie's cringe, yo. It's hashtag misogynistic.
I thought it was fire.
No, I like this movie still. The sex scenes that we complain a lot in movies about sex scenes and how they look like fucking movie sex scenes.
Yeah,
these sex scenes are pretty legit, and I think the secret to it is the girl on top. She's got to ride, like Genuine said, you got to ride the pony, and that's the only way to pull it off in a good movie, because they can work the hips and make things look certain ways. That like a guy on top's going bad. It's not going to look that great.
No, it's not going to look great, but it is going to look like 99% of the sex that's being had out there.
Exactly, which is why nobody wants to see that.
Boom, and there you have it.
I'm
The
lying.
magic-
I want to see everyone have sex.
The magic of movie making. Let's make this look a lot better than it really is. Because, listen, 99% of the sex had in the world is just grunty and sweaty and awkward and fumbly.
Oh, dude, like, look, in real life, when you're talking about the lint on her butt crack, in real life, that's a mole with a giant fucking hair coming out of it. It's just the way it works, man.
Absolutely.
But no, this movie's fantastic. I still recommend it. If you're squeamish about fucking sex and that kind of shit, why are you watching our show? Move on. Go to one of those prey channels they're always advertising on.
Yeah.
But overall, like, I still would recommend this movie. It is good. I think the leads are phenomenal. Sharon Stone she's unbelievably good in this, and
she's amazing.
Unbelievably beautiful. Like, there is not a blemish on her entire body. It's amazing.
Yeah. And we see her entire body.
Oh yeah, I'm not guessing. I really looked. And I think even like the mystery is good. I think the female character of Sharon Stone is a positive female role model who busts.
Absolutely.
She's unapologetic. She's rich. She's powerful. And frankly, she acts like most men do. She just doesn't give a fuck. And the only reason you would be like, oh my gosh, aghast is because of, the way men and women are viewed. But she really is. She is the man in this movie, and Michael Douglas is the female in this movie.
Oh, 100%.
If you go by, traditional
standards,
gender norms or whatever it is. Whatever us cool millennials say these days. So, this movie's great. I highly recommend it.
Absolutely. Me too. But that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, I've talked for like 6 hours, man. I'm done.
I hear you. All right. Well, for Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1992's Basic Instinct.